Hi, I'm Fairfield County Commissioner Jeff Fix, and as always, it's a pleasure to have the opportunity to talk to you. We've got a lot going on here, and I've been talking for years about the growth that's happening in Fairfield County and the growth that is yet to come. And that growth means change, and that's not always a comfortable thing for everybody. However, we see growth as an opportunity, and we're very fortunate to have that opportunity here as opposed to some of the other places that we know around the state of Ohio that are struggling. So today I'm going to talk a little bit more about what that growth looks like, what it means to be on the good end of that as opposed to the bad end of that, and how Fairfield County is uniquely positioned to really take advantage of it so that we are really taking care of our taxpayers. So I appreciate you all spending some time with me today. Thank you. Growing pains versus shrinking pains. Growing pains are hard, right? A lot of people don't like change. And so I think we need to acknowledge that growth presents challenges just as a lack of growth does. I'm fortunate to serve on the County Commissioners Association of Ohio, and I serve on, I think, 4 different committees within that group. So I'm talking to commissioners from around the state pretty much every week. And we're really very lucky that we have problems with growth as opposed to problems with a community that's dying. I've got friends around the state who, when their kids get out of high school, they have to go away because there's no jobs, there's no real future in that community. It's a much better place to have to deal with the challenges of people that want to move into your community as opposed to people that want to move away from your community. So as growth pertains to utilities and infrastructure, when you're in a dying community, your resources leave with the people who move out. So they're not in a financial position to be able to keep their utilities and their infrastructure up to date. And so as a result, over time, their infrastructure starts to fail. The opposite of that is where we are, which is where we have to build new infrastructure. We have to build new pipes, we have to build new roads. And again, change is hard for people, but we're fortunate that we have the financial resources to do the right things, not only in how we take care of what we already have, but in planning for the future and having the financial resources to build to that future, both in water and sewer and in road infrastructure, working with partners in at the state and federal governments to look at big long-term plans and big picture things, working with the Ohio Department of Transportation, working with our Congressman Troy Balderson, our U.S. Senators Bernie Moreno and John Husted, all of whom understand that Fairfield County has a bright future and needs to be able to build to that future. We work really hard in partnership with the townships and villages around the county, some of whom have their own aging infrastructure, and so helping them make their own plans and helping them, growth allows them to fix what's not right today and to build to the future. So growth allows for any local government to really take care of the constituents, right? The customers, if you will, of that government. It's a lot easier to do things the right way when the financial resources are available as opposed to when they're shrinking. There are challenges with housing and land use on both sides of that spectrum, right? For a community that's shrinking or dying, they have vacant houses. They have neighborhoods that kind of go away over time. Their land values go down. So people who are there are kind of stuck there because they can't really afford to sell what they have because nobody wants to buy it, and there's not enough money generated from the sale of their house to move to a community that's thriving, right? So the other end of that conversation is where we are, which is, we're growing and we need to build, and there are challenges with that. And we have been for almost 3 years now, working really hard on helping our townships and villages work on plans that will allow them to preserve land and protect the taxpayers, right? So preserve the land by building with density instead of spreading out, build up, and use less land to provide reasonable housing for people, and protecting the taxpayers by using this tool called a new community authority that puts a development tax, if you will, on new people moving in. That means that the people that live there today won't have to vote in favor of a new fire levy or a new road levy or a new school levy, because those costs will be covered by the people that are moving in. So, again, I would take the challenges that come with a thriving, growing community as opposed to one that's dying. So, how is Fairfield County unique in its approach to economic development? I can tell you that there are a lot of counties and other governmental entities who are working really hard to bring jobs into their community. Our approach has been much more holistic than that, right? It's not just about creating jobs, because to bring jobs into the county, you have to have people that will go to work in those jobs. So we've spent a lot of time and effort and money on our Workforce Development Center, which is unique in the state of Ohio, in that it's a partnership between our county government, the state has contributed, Hocking College, Ohio University are involved, and all the local school districts send their kids into this program so that they can get into a skilled trade and make really good money when they get out of high school. And that feeds into the jobs that need to be created. So when a business comes here and says, hey, we need this kind of worker, we create a program that will train those kinds of workers, in addition to the basics that we're doing with electric and plumbing and HVAC and construction and phlebotomy and all those things. For example, we built a tech lab for Intel. We have a robotics lab, for Anduril and for others that are coming in. So we're creating the skilled labor that those companies need, and that's why they're looking to move into Fairfield County. But it doesn't stop there. It also goes towards, how's someone going to get to work? Everybody has reliable transportation, so we're expanding our, what was the Fairfield-Lancaster transit system. We've purchased that from the city of Lancaster. We're expanding services in partnership with those businesses and with the state to make it so that it's a lot easier for someone who doesn't have reliable transportation to get from where they live to work. And the third part of that is, creating enough housing locally, workforce housing that someone who has one of those skilled labor jobs can afford to move into an apartment complex or a small home and start to build their version of the American dream, right? We need more housing to do that, which is why that's part of our economic development strategy. And finally, there's daycare, right? A lot of people can't get to work as much as they would like to because there's not an easily available daycare. Either it's too expensive or it doesn't exist in their area. So we're working with the state and our local education service center to hopefully create a pilot tri-share program where the state will contribute, the company will contribute, and the parents will contribute all equally, and that hopefully will loosen it up. In addition, we have to work with the state to make daycare centers more available throughout all of Fairfield County, throughout all of Ohio. So that holistic approach where we're looking at all four of those aspects is unique to Fairfield County, and I feel like we're well ahead of the game because we've got a great team, right? Our economic development team, economic development and workforce team, all the folks that are doing all that work, our work on housing, on transit, on the daycare situation. I don't know of anywhere else in the state that's taken this approach, and we're being recognized for it. So I was recently asked to co-chair the Central Ohio Housing Coalition with Columbus Mayor Ginther and the CEO of the Columbus Partnership. And we were asked to come to the table because of the unique approach that we're taking to housing, and that is working in collaboration with our townships and villages and cities to come up with a way that does preserve the land and protect the taxpayers, an approach that's not been done before. So there are a lot of people who are interested in learning more about that and interested in creating that model in their own communities. And so We were asked to join the Executive Board of the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission. Same reasoning, right? We're showing leadership in Fairfield County on a lot of different fronts, and that leadership brings us to the table. And being at that table allows us to have more influence over, what goes on throughout Central Ohio and here in Fairfield County. It wasn't always this way, right? Fairfield County was not always at that table, did not always have a voice, and as a result, didn't always get all of the resources that perhaps we should have or could have. Because of the leadership of Commissioner Levacy and Commissioner Davis and our entire team here, we're in that position that we are asked to help lead as opposed to, oh yeah, there's Fairfield County, we got to bail them out, right? So this is a great time for us. We have our act together and others recognize that, and we're being asked to help form the conversation going forward, and that's kind of a big deal and good for Fairfield County.